My name is Alex, and welcome to Paranormal Artist, the podcast where I talk about hauntings and the supernatural. Listener discretion is advised. This audio may not be suitable for children. Arriving on your vacation to Corpus Christi, you finally see it. The aircraft carrier from all the travel sites you were scrolling through. You park your car and walk up the very long ramp that leads to the USS Lexington. As a history buff, you grab tickets and take the tour. The feeling of being watched creeps over you as you enter the switch room. The chills and that uneasy feeling that you've never felt before. And the seaman standing in the doorway you didn't hear walk up. You figure he's part of the tour, so you follow him out. But as you exit the room, he's not there anymore. And that's when you learn that the Lexington is more than just a museum. On today's adventure, we are going to be visiting the USS Lexington, located at 2914 North Shoreline Boulevard in Corpus Christi, Texas. So for you history lovers out there, I'm going to apologize in advance because I am an artist, hence the title of my podcast, the name of it. I'm not much of a history person, but I will do my absolute best to pull as much history as I can about anywhere that I am talking about for this podcast, because just the history alone of this ship, of this air carrier, is like insane. It's awesome. I have learned a lot about it that I didn't know. There's a few things that I probably will add in later on Patreon probably, but for the moment, I have got some details, some history, and of course the spirits that haunt the Lexington. The ship was built on July 15th of 1941. It was launched officially in September of 1942, specifically September 23rd of 1942. It was one of the Navy's first commissioned carriers. The name was originally Cabo, then renamed Lexington after they received word that the original Lexington was lost at battle, the Battle of the Coral Sea. And also, fun fact, it was the fifth ship to receive the name Lexington to honor the Revolutionary War Battle of Lexington. Also, I did a little bit of digging for that because I have not taken a history class in God knows how long. So I had to refresh myself in this. The Battle of Lexington happened in 1775. It was one of the first military engagements of the American Revolutionary War. It was fought on April 19th of 1775 in Middlesex County, province of Massachusetts Bay, Lexington, Concord, Lincoln, and what is now Arlington. The first shots for the Battle of Lexington were fired at sunrise. Anyway, back to current history for the Lexington. The Lexington served during the Pacific War. The ship was also used as a flagship for Admiral Mark Mitscher and led the first carrier task force through battles across the Pacific. It has received 11 battle stars and was decommissioned and rebuilt to modern standards for the 1950s, then reactivated and continued operating in the Atlantic or Mediterranean, approximately spending 30 years of its active life as a training carrier. The ship was decommissioned in 1991 and donated to be used as a museum in Corpus Christi, where it still lays today. Or rests, not lays, because lays isn't the proper term that I want to use. In 2003, it was officially named a National Historic Landmark and is one of the oldest aircraft carriers in the world. The ship was also named Blue Ghost by the Japanese. A quote from seaforces.org says, "The Japanese referred to the Lexington as a ghost ship for her tendency to reappear after reportedly being sunk. This, coupled with the ship's dark blue camouflage scheme, led to the crew to refer her as the Blue Ghost. There were rumors during the war that the ship was so badly damaged it had to be scuttled at one point. But newly built aircraft carrier was immediately deployed with the same name in an effort to demoralize the Japanese," end quote. That's Interesting. So for those of you who don't know what scuttled is, it basically means to put holes into the deck, sides, and bottom of the ship to help it sink, basically to lay it to rest, is from what I understood. The Lexington endured 4 major attacks. In 1943, torpedoed by a Japanese sub, casualties were reported. On November 5th, 1944, a kamikaze attack ended up with a Japanese plane hitting the engine room. There were also casualties from bullets of enemy planes. Men were burned on board, and some people died of illness because being in close quarters all the time is definitely how things can get spread from one person to another, and some people just don't survive those illnesses. So everything I just told you is all new to me. I knew that the ship was an aircraft carrier. I knew that it has been around for a long time. I really didn't know a whole lot about it until I started doing the research for this show, but I learned a lot. I've come to know that it has quite a history. It's a really fascinating history, and I didn't know that it had been just since 1991 that it's been in Corpus. I thought it had been there since basically the end of its use. I didn't know that it's only been like 31 years or 32 years. So that was all new to me. I feel like I don't have a whole lot of education with this, but I mean, I said it before. I'm sorry. If I got history wrong, I'm sorry. I did my best. I'm not a history person, although I appreciate it. I like to learn about it when it comes to, like, if I go to a museum, I'm going to try to learn as much as I can about the history of something. Like, oh my god, when I go to an art museum, that's it. I'm done. I'm sold. I've always wanted to go see Guernica by Pablo Picasso. And god, I wish I could have seen it because I need to be surrounded by his art. But that's completely off topic. As I said, the USS Lexington is known to be haunted. There have been so many reports of hauntings on the Lexington that I had to find just websites to just get the specifics about like what things I'm going to focus on to talk about for this episode. It's been quite an adventure. I would love to see this ship. I really would. I think that it'd be cool to experience the stuff that the people have reported on all these websites and to know if I'm going to run into these alleged spirits. I can't imagine working there because you're literally there all the time. So do you experience all the spirits that are residing on the Lexington from World War II? You know, it's just a really interesting story that all these people have experienced. Just, I feel like I'm rambling. I probably am because it's late. It's after work. I'm tired. But this is just another day in the life. You know what I mean? So as far as the ghosts go on the Lexington, several employees have reported unexplained or paranormal encounters, which cool, but also not cool because I'd be scared. Some people have felt sick in certain areas of the ship, and what I mean by sick is like, you know, feeling nauseous or a headache or something to make you feel unwell. And that's been reported in the switch room. Another one is that it's pretty cool. So there were some guys doing some just, I guess, like maintenance repairs on the ship. They decided they needed to go take a break because you're working your ass off. You need to take a break. Just chill for a minute. So when they came back to where they were working, they found that the job had been done for them. That is awesome. So I think I would be freaked out for sure, but wow. I mean, this guy really, they got their work done for him by these spirits who are still working on the ship. Honestly, what do you do with the rest of your day once your job has been done? Like, what did you do? Because if I had that situation, I'm probably just clock out and go home and not worry about anything for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? So other employees have also heard footsteps behind them. Now, The ship, I imagine, is metal and steel everywhere, so footsteps probably echo. So it could be a tourist, could be an employee, or it could be the boots of the seamen and admirals and all the soldiers that were once on the ship. So maybe it's a residual haunting, which would be so cool. But there's also a ghostly tour guide who is very popular and has been known to give very detailed facts and stories about the ship, which, whoa, that's cool. There's also the spirits of the seamen and a Japanese pilot, a chief petty officer, and just the spirits of the engine room where the Japanese plane hit and unfortunately killed several soldiers. And there's so many residual hauntings on the ship from the energy of wars and combat, and the ship has had a long life. There's energy within its walls, within the steel of the ship that will stay there forever until the end of time, probably. So, if you don't know what a residual haunting is, that is where basically it's easier. A residual haunting is kind of like a movie that you just watch on repeat, or like the residual haunting is like something on repeat. It only comes at a certain time, or a certain weather condition, or both. There's no intelligence behind a residual haunting. It can be like the sound of somebody running up the stairs during an emergency. It can be the screams and cries of the soldiers or the persons hurt in battle. A residual haunting is just a recording of the past, basically. The stone tape theory by Zach Bagans. I know his name is not well liked right now, but I do like his stone tape theory that he introduced me to, and it made so much sense, because like I said, everything that we touch, the walls of our houses, the beds, everything records our energy. So, the USS Lexington has had so much energy for so many years, going through battles after battles and being rained on by bullets and hit by airplanes, and it's just got the energy forever stored in it so that it'll pretty much just replay it whenever the conditions are just right. They still say that you can hear the sounds of the ship at work during the war. The soldiers are still there doing what they were doing all those years ago. There's so much loss of life that happens during these wars that it's sad. But because of the residual haunting, it's gonna forever play there. I know there's a lot of spaces between this, but I'm trying to think of the proper words to say, because for whatever reason, in my notes, I did not include what I consider a residual haunting. I have so many things that I've seen that have residual hauntings. So anyway, I think that was enough of a rambling for the residual hauntings. To put it in simple terms, it happens when a big event happens, and the energy of that event is forever recorded into the walls, steel, inside of whatever area it's happening in. We're going to go back to our ghostly tour guide. He's been dubbed Charlie. He has been reported to be seen by a few hundred visitors, which I think is pretty cool. And he is a full-bodied apparition, fully intelligent, and will give very detailed things about the ship. He can probably answer any question you have. He will typically appear in his naval uniform. He's very known for his extremely piercing blue eyes and blonde hair. He is a buff person. He's strong. He's still working. He likes to have fun. He will appear in front of women that he considers beautiful, which everybody's beautiful. We're not trying to hate. But you know how some people can be. Supposedly his name is Niall Kinnick, but obviously he was nicknamed Charlie. and that's what I got from hauntedhouses.com. Since there were so many reports, the museum director at the time decided that he was going to do some digging, and he ended up finding out an event that Charlie himself might be tied to. So in 1943, 9 soldiers were killed in the engine room when the torpedo hit the ship. So, like I said, this ship has been around for a long time. It's been everywhere all over the world, mainly in the Pacific areas. And I think it was actually in Pearl Harbor whenever the Pearl Harbor attack happened. It's believed that Charlie is actually a spirit of one of the 9 soldiers who were killed in the engine room. And he does manifest in the engine room. He has been known to give tours. And some people have said that he has given a tour and just abandoned them, left like nothing. And these guests have gone up to the manager and were like, yo, what's up? We were like on a tour and this dude just left us. And that's when they learned that Charlie is definitely not an employee. He is a spirit. And actually, while I was doing the research for this, I happened to come across a TikTok where there was somebody filming in the Lexington, in the engine room specifically, where he's known to appear. He was using, I guess, an app on his phone called Ghost Tube. I've never heard of it, but it sounds pretty cool. Basically, it uses like technology that the Xbox Kinect had to like be able to track movement. So it was tracking an apparition that was in the process of manifesting. No, you couldn't see it like with your own eyes. It was just like the dots, like a stick figure. But it was in the area where Charlie has been known to manifest. And that's pretty cool. I think I would have to download like a infrared app or something to see if I can catch Charlie right there. So a World War II naval uniform would consist of a jumper, underdress blue with appropriate insignia, trousers blue, obviously. Some were wearing white, and others had a sailor hat that was white, 100% cotton shirt, a belt with a brass buckle, and jeans, and all the shoes were black in all the references I found, and that's from USSNCLivingHistory.com. Because I was trying to think of a way to describe the uniforms that they wore. So typically, I imagine when they are working on the ship itself, they're going to be wearing the blue uniform or a service uniform. And that would consist of, well, if I can find, a blue cotton shirt, navy blue pants, and black shoes, typical wear. So that's what I would imagine the soldiers were wearing at the time of any of the attacks, and probably what this spirit of Charlie is wearing. Although he is likely wearing the all blue jumpsuit. So as I said, the Lexington has been attacked by several aircraft. So with that being said, there is the spirit of a Japanese pilot and a seaman. And for those of you who don't know what a seaman is the soldier for the Navy. That is their a name of ranking. So they have been seen standing together in various areas of the ship, and they've been seen by employees also. They say that the pilot is probably a lost soul still searching for his plane for all of eternity. Some have reported feeling heavy or uneasy around the location of these attacks. Again, that's probably residual energy. And a lot of people have been hearing whispers, which, I don't know, that's weird. Now, I wonder if the ship, whenever it's open for its tours, I wonder if the ship is quiet on the inside or if it's got people talking all over. Because, people will always talk, no matter what. It doesn't matter the situation, somebody's going to open their mouth and just talk. Because, some of us don't know how to be quiet, myself included. There has also been a chief petty officer seen on the ship several times. He's not a happy guy. He's always seen just scowling and looking angry at the living. He allegedly died by backing into a moving propeller, specifically an airplane propeller. He was killed. So where he is seen is probably where he passed on. They put a mannequin there, naval uniform, in the spot where he has been known to manifest throughout the years, and he now manifests beside it because that's his spot, and nobody's gonna fucking take it from him. They say he's still really mad about the way he died, which I think I would be too. I just want to know, because I really couldn't find anything about this specific officer. How did you get close enough? I mean, I have to think, this was the 40s. Safety measures were probably not a thing, hence some other stories I've told in the past. And maybe there wasn't a whole lot of red or yellow tape signing or signaling to not go into that area. Or maybe it was just like a heat of the moment type thing where there is like so much going on, they're under attack and he's just trying to get to where he needs to be, and he ran into the propeller. Maybe that's a situation. I would be mad too if that's the case. Now, is he intelligent or is he a residual apparition? I don't know that part. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. He is very mad at the living. From what I've seen everywhere, he is not happy with the living. He's probably jealous that he did not get to live out his full life. And that's really sad. There's a lot of people who did not make it out of World War II, and that's such a tragedy to think about. The other apparitions, spirits that are known to be on the ship are obviously the sailors themselves, the seamen. Those who perished before their life should have ended. They often are seen just throughout the ship, running around the ship, getting work done. There's footsteps everywhere. Full-bodied apparitions have been known to appear on the decks of the ship. The security guards have even heard these people running through the corridors of the ship, through everywhere that they can possibly get to. Like, the ghosts know the ship more than anybody, aside from the tour guides. Tour guides, you guys know this because you do it day in and day out. But if a visitor were to get lost on the ship, they know it, and our friend Charlie would probably be able to guide them back up to where they need to be and then disappear. The soldiers are still working, even in the afterlife. They are still working on that ship, maintaining it as they did when they were living in World War II. Before plane attacks, before sickness, before they were hit with a shitload of bullets. Lots of people do, in fact, report feeling uneasy and sick, and you just have that feeling when there's something around. You just have that feeling. And all of these areas that these people allegedly get this way, that they supposedly feel sick or uneasy, are all areas that have been where there have been like a mass amount of death. Like where the plane crashed into the ship, or where there was a fire outbreak, or just a lot of stuff has happened to cause so much energy to stay within the walls of the ship. Oddly enough, this is a little bit interesting because I didn't even know it. There were even apparently women on the ship. There's been a few reports of people hearing female voices on the ship. There were times in our life where we as women were just viewed as housewives, and there's nothing wrong with that. People still do that to that day, and I have big respect for you because I couldn't do it. But they hear whispers of these females who used to work on the ship. And, you know, it's weird. I don't know what they did. In fact, I've only found one website that ever talked about the females of the ship, because really, did anybody actually know about it? Because I certainly didn't. I don't know. So if we want to just say that, the ship is haunted, without a doubt. And I want to experience it. I've got 3 or 4 ghost books that all say the same thing about the Lexington. There's Charlie, there's the ghosts, there's the residual energy, there's a lot of stuff. And I want to experience it. I would absolutely love to have a paranormal group and all of us just go and talk and experience and investigate. That would be like the crowning moment of my life. Weirdly enough, I know I always throw like my little stories in there between, you know, I really don't have any spooky ghost stories from Corpus Christi. It's a nice place. The Selena Museum is there. If you don't know who Selena is, she was a Tejano star, and her music was awesome. Still is awesome. She has a statue there. Attracts tons of people. It's awesome. I kind of missed out on something. I found the details of the ship. This is at the end. It makes no sense to put it here, but I'm going to anyway because this is what I want to do. So the ship was 872 feet in length. When it was in the water, it was 820 feet, 42,000 tons. That's a lot. And the deck could hold on or have 103 aircraft on it. That's a lot. I'd like to see all that. You know, in all my time going to Corpus, all the times I've been there, I've never been able to get on that goddamn ship. And I want to so badly go see it. I need to see it. And I just never get the chance. But what I can tell you is that it is so huge. I don't even know the name of the restaurant that we go to when we go to Corpus, but it's got an outdoor deck. You sit there and you can just see the ship from where you're sitting. And sometimes at night they have it lit up, which I think is cool because it just makes it have the name the Blue Ghost. Sometimes they put blue lights on it. I think it's blue lights. That's what I saw last time I went, at least. They had the blue lights on it. It just looks so cool at night seeing it there. They have the naval airplane outside on display. They have some stuff out there that you can see before you get on the ship. Now, the ramp that leads up to the ship is long and it's at an incline. So it sounds like it would be a workout on its own just to get up there, but you see so many people there that it makes you want to go in there and just experience it with them. So there are attractions obviously on the ship. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to make as much money as they want to. So there are theaters. So I had to pull up the website to fully remember everything that there was on the ship. So you can experience Pearl Harbor, and it says relive every second in this ground rumbling display of light and sound. There is an escape room called Lockdown on Lex, a flight simulator, overnight camping, smartphone tours, action and exhibits, the flight deck, and the mega theater. That's pretty cool. That's a lot. And they also have a haunted house, apparently, during Halloween. They don't have it advertised on the website right now, but there is, in fact, a haunted house. It's open from 9 to 5, normal hours. They're open on the Labor Day, September through Memorial Day in May. Summer, they're open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets for adults 18 plus are $18.95, seniors $16.95, military $14.95, 13 to 17 $16.95, $5 parking because why not? You can get maps, news. The USS Lexington is just super cool, and they have apparently a paranormal investigation. Hold on, I gotta see this. So on March 18th, well after I put this podcast out, the paranormal investigation is from 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. on Saturday, March 18th. Holy shit, that's cool. Quote from the website, USS Lexington has long been known for its paranormal activity, from eerie creaks and clangs and missing things to encounters with otherworldly beings. We invite you to an overnight experience like no other at the USS Lexington Museum, where you will have a chance to hunt for the supernatural yourself. Wow, that's up my alley completely. The overnight investigation is open to anyone who is curious about the paranormal. For newbies who want to learn from the experience, to our expert guide, Bill Miller. Isn't that the name of a restaurant? To experienced investigative teams. The exploration begins as you are taken on a tour of 6 different sector or hotspots on the ship, where you will hear stories of Charlie and others, exactly where they took place. Overnight guests will be provided a berthing compartment, I guess that means bed, continental breakfast, and the opportunity to tour the ship in the light of day the next day. That's awesome. Join us for a night of paranormal investigation dedicated to those who served and may still be aboard, if you dare. End quote. Whoa, that is awesome. I need to see how much this is. Wow. Anyway, it's $125 each. That's crazy. I need on this. I need to do this. Wow. As always, what I put on my podcast is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988. If you're feeling suicidal or have any suicidal ideation, please call or text 988. They are open 365 days a year, 24/7, and they are ready to serve you and talk to you in your time of need. If you have any experiences or suggestions for the next story, you can email me at paranormalartistpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Patreon with the same username, Paranormal Artist Podcast. And you can find me on social media, on Instagram at Alex again with 2 underscores, and on TikTok with my wonderful username, Paranormal Artist Podcast. I can't wait to see you guys next time, and I really appreciate those of you who have been listening. It's taken me a long time to do this. You have no idea how much it means to me that you guys are listening to this podcast. Just thank you. And there was a term in there, hotspots. If you don't know what hotspots means, it's like a place where there's a very high amount of paranormal activity, or where there's been a lot of reportings of experiences there. So to see the hotspots in the Lexington would be like, oh man, I would be like a Disney princess finding her Prince Charming, basically. That's cool. That is so cool. And not only that, to be, wow. I should just end this here because obviously I have nothing more to add.